All right, grilling with the good dogs. What are we doing today? Back to my favorite, some salmon. Some salmon I picked up at the store and I vacuum sealed it. It's been a while, so I defrosted it. What we're gonna do with it, we're gonna do the tried and true favorite recipe, maple glazed smoked salmon. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these out. I'm gonna wash them off with some water. Okay, we're gonna put them in here. We're gonna dry brine them. I like dry brining. Some people like wet brining. I think that's kind of dumb and redundant if it's just sitting in water, even though it's salinated water. I just don't feel it does a good job as dry brining. So we're gonna get that ready. We're gonna get these two parts going. So be ready. Grilling with the good dogs. Where are those good dogs? All right, now you can't really tell because of the coloring, but this is an Atlantic salmon here. And this, you can't really see the red. Maybe if I shadow it a bit more. You see that it's redder than this. But this is actually a Sockeye salmon. It's going to be much leaner, a little bit tougher of meat because this is wild caught. This is more of a farm-raised Atlantic salmon. Both good. Most people are going to be used to this Atlantic salmon, not the Sockeye. Okay? So we're going to get both of them ready. We're putting both of these in here. I know it doesn't look like a big Pyrex, but we can kind of squish them in there. And then we're going to brine them with natural sea salt, dark brown sugar. Okay? Let me get the ratio ready for that, but it's not so much of a you need this much. It's a ratio thing to how much fish you have to cover it all up. Grilling with the good dogs. All right, so these have been patted down as dry as I can get them for now. You can kind of see the coloration a little bit more. This is going to be your normal orange kind of looking salmon. Sockeye is going to be as much redder, and once you smoke it, it's definitely going to be much redder. You're going to look at almost a cherry red. This piece, I don't know if you're going to see that as much, but we'll see. But you will usually get much redder of a final product with the Sockeye salmon. So your salt to dark brown sugar ratio: 2 parts salt, 3 parts dark brown sugar. I'm just using a 1/4 cup, so it's going to be 1/2 cup of this and then 3/4 cup of that. Mix them together to make sure we cover everything that we see. Okay. Every now and then, you're going to have to check and try and drain some of the liquid. That's what I like to do, try and promote, the continuous drawing out of the moisture in this salmon. So let's get to it. Let's mix this stuff up. Grilling with the good dogs. Maple glazed salmon. All right, that's the ratios. I did the dark brown sugar after, so it needs to mix in good. I'm mixing that, but got the cedar plank out here. I'm going to use it for this one. I'm going to use it for most of them. Anything that I probably record, we're going to use a cedar plank, but I will be doing some experimentation to see what you can do besides the cedar plank, because you never really need the cedar plank if you're smoking or cooking salmon. Just a nice thing to have, add some taste to it, allegedly. I don't know that I've ever tasted too much of a difference. I think the smoking is going to overpower any taste that comes from the cedar plank, but I mean, if you don't mind spending the money to buy the cedar planks, you can do it. So we're mixing this up and good. I'm going to get it good and homogenized. Then we're going to dump it on there. Grilling with the good dogs. All right, as you can see, that's pretty good and mixed up. So one thing I wanted to give you a tip here. I keep it like this because I'm going to eat it throughout the week and whatnot. If you were going to be serving this, and you didn't want to give someone a whole slab, if you do, great. It's kind of expensive, but yeah, I'd love it if you served me like that. But if you wanted to cut these in half or into thirds or something like that and brine them as such, that's just as good. You just don't need to brine them as long. These, I'm probably going to brine them until the sun goes down, and then I'll put them on the smoker tonight. Maybe 8 hours or something like that right now. I wouldn't suggest going over 12 hours after they've been frozen like I did. If you're buying them fresh, they can last a bit longer. But if you froze them, stay under 10, under 12 hours. Okay? So I'm going to put these on there. Like I said, these are probably going to be 8-10 hours max kind of deal. Let me douse that in there, and I'm going to show it to you before it goes in the fridge. All right. Cedar plank, we're going to use that later. Don't need it right now. Now, you might think, oh, my God, he completely covered them in it. It just looks like that. You can see it's not even a very thick layer right there, maybe 1/8 of an inch. It just looks that way because I have it in a nice small Pyrex. I kind of like that because I find that as it starts to draw out the moisture, if you have a bunch packed down on it, it can slough off depending on the size and shape of your fish. Keep it like this. keeps everything in there, but you do need to drain it periodically. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge. I'm gonna put this lid on there. Like I said, probably come back and check it in about 4 hours or so. Take it out in 8 to 10 hours, something like that. Can't wait. Grilling with the good dogs. I gotta show you all them good dogs. They're running around somewhere. You know what? They might just be sleeping somewhere. Good dogs, though. Okay, so you can see what it looks like right now. It's been about 4 hours. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna dump it out. I'm gonna make sure everything's still on there pretty good. But all that is moisture drawn out from the salmon. So let me take it, let me dump it out, and keep it going. Like I said, still probably another 4 hours or so. Grilling with the good dogs. I do not have a sticker out. Dang it. Okay, as you can see, kind of drained it. It's still gonna be wet though. So you still got big, good clumps of salt on there. Still time for it to draw out more moisture. We're gonna let it be. Let it keep doing its thing. But yeah, and you can tell, I mean, the layer of salt and brown sugar on there wasn't that thick on there. It's starting to clump up a little bit, but that's because I just had it slough all of that corner. Picked it out and then just kind of repaved it on there. So grilling with the good dogs. We'll give it another 4 hours or so. All right, so there's the salmon. Looking pretty good. I'm gonna scrape everything off with a spoon. Scrape it all off. I'm gonna put it on the cedar plank that's in there. All right, now for your baste that you're going to slap on this every 30 minutes, you got maple syrup and lots of pulp orange juice, most pulp, okay? So you're gonna want 1 part orange juice to 3 parts maple syrup. The orange juice goes a long way, trust me. It'll be very watery when you mix it in. So I'm gonna mix that together, I'm gonna get that. I have an ingredient I'm going to add to this, but it's gonna be completely optional. Just so everyone's aware, this entire recipe can be done with just what you see here, just these two. That is enough, and it's perfect, okay? I'm gonna add a little something extra just because I want to, but this is all you need to do this. All right, so there's the mixture. As you can see, it's not very viscous. Like I said, that orange juice goes a long way. Now, this is the extra ingredient I'm going to add later on. Some McCormick's Grill Mates Smokehouse Maple. Like I said, you don't need this. I just wanted to add a little bit extra. So here's the 2 fillets. You can definitely tell this one's much more red. That's the Sockeye. This is the Atlantic. It's much smaller now. And that's because the Atlantic has a lot more moisture that draws out. This is going to be pretty unmoist. It's not going to have as much to draw out as the Atlantic salmon. They're both going to be fantastic, so I can't wait. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring them out. I'm going to slather them down with this, and then I'm going to pour some of this on top of them. Should be good. All right, got the cedar plank, smokers up. So let's get grilling. Let's get smoking with the good dogs. All right. Put this right here. Might be a little hot, but that's okay. I'm gonna start slathering this down. So one thing you gotta know, the longer you brine it, the shorter time that it's going to cook. So these are pretty small pieces. I don't think they're gonna take very long regardless. That's all it takes, as you can see. It's pretty watery. Pour this stuff on there. Every 30 minutes, that's what you're gonna come and do. You're gonna come and hit some of that mixture, and then if you're adding anything else, I'd add it then too. All right, that's gonna smoke. I'm gonna put the probe on in a minute here. Remember, it needs to get up to 140 and 145 internal. That's the Sockeye and the Atlantic. Need both of those, so it's gonna taste great. Can't wait. Finally got the good dogs out here. Look at that pretty girl, so good. Klein, you're a good boy, Klein. So one thing they wanted me to remind y'all of, is you never want to over-salt your salmon. Maybe that's why people like doing a wet brine. I personally don't, again. But when you do your dry brine, you got to make sure that it's not going to get too salty. And that can come from the amount of salt you put in there or the length of time you do the brining. So I'm hoping this one did good. Those are pretty small cuts of fish. If you had a nice big center cut, you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna have any issues doing a 12-hour dry brine. Smaller cuts like that, you could probably get away with just maybe 6-8 hours. Again, we just did around 8 here, so I think we'll be fine. I don't mind it being a little salty, so that's just that's for me personally. If you like it saltier, leave it in the brine a little longer. Dang, it's a little dark. Guess I need some light. Oh man, that's bright. What could that beacon of hope and love and joy be coming from? Oh yeah, it's grilling with the good dogs. See, this is checking out. It's about 120 degrees right now. I'm gonna give that one more quick slather real quick, but it's just about done. I'm liking how that's looking. The grill actually gave me a little bit of trouble earlier. I think I need to clean out that fire pit. Probably what it was. Right now, I'm about to go get some wood and they're gonna start a little fire. It's actually quite pleasant out here right now. So let me get that sauce. I'm gonna baste it up a little bit more with that orange juice maple glaze. A few more minutes, it should be done, I think. Grilling with the good dog. Look at that logo. Just bathing in its glory. All right, Chef Kleinbear came and told me that it's time to take out that salmon. There's that logo. Gotta love it. 145. Looking real nice. Real nice. So I'm just gonna take these off. I got a fire going right now. I'm just gonna throw this cedar plank right on the fire pit because it's actually a really nice night in early April, so that's pretty nice. We're gonna go inside and chop these things open and show y'all what they look like. In the basking light, you can kind of see that you still see the orange versus the red. It's really good. It's really good. Dogs, what y'all think, dogs? What y'all think? Let's get these treasures inside. Grilling with the good dogs. There's the stars of the show. This is looking great. Now remember, this sockeye, that's a center cut fillet of sockeye. It's gonna be smaller. This is just the tail end of an Atlantic salmon. It's still gonna be just as good, but it's cheaper than some of the big cuts. Don't know if I'm going to put this one on YouTube just yet. Kind of want to wait till I get good primo size salmon. We'll see. Could be a filler content for 1 week. What do you think, Klein? So let me chop a little bit of these. Got the Pyrex that I'm going to store them in. And I'm going to show you what they look like on the inside, just so you know what some sockeye looks like compared to some of the Atlantic salmon. Grilling with the good dogs. All right, zoom in a little bit. You can kind of see there. You got a nice crust of orange on top. It's almost like a very light pink, light orange right there on the inside of the Atlantic. On this, you get a nice red crust, and it's much more red on the inside of that meat. Pick some of that up, you can see it. Dang, that's good. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Get a little bit of this for me. So good. I was worried. I gotta trust myself more because those are perfect. Again, you can add this. You don't have to, but I think it does add a little bit to the recipe. That's some smoked salmon, everybody. Grilling with the good dogs. That's the show, and that's perfection. Hey guys, it's me, the Fat Dad. Just want to let y'all know, I hope y'all are enjoying the videos here on YouTube. But if you want to see more, we actually have a Snapchat where you'll see a lot more of the uncut stuff. The final product is what ended up on YouTube, but a lot of bloopers, mistakes, and experiments happen on Snapchat, so check us out there. You can find that on our Instagram page, where if you follow our Instagram, you'll see candid pictures of the dogs, throwback pictures, and a little bit about each one of the recipes that we put up here on YouTube. So give that a try. That's Grilling with the Good Dogs on Instagram. Hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching the videos.